Welcome everybody. Today I'm going to talk a lot about the mental aspect and ETD with tinnitus. And I'm going to talk about how in this book, Heal Eustachian Tube Dysfunction, the book that I wrote, that is going to cover a very minimal part about that because I have some news. I am in the process of creating a book strictly about mental health and ETD. And this book has a lot of other exercises and things to try, foods and things. But the next book, I will be letting all of you know that it's going to just concentrate on the mental health stuff, nothing else, just mental health problems, challenges, things that you could do mentally to get through this thing. Because I think we can all agree it's not really what we thought it was. We thought it was going to be something that goes away quickly, and we're finding that it's something that has completely taken over our well-being. And I want all of you to know that if you're in the process of trying to get this thing out of your head, trying to find some clarity, you're not alone, because over millions of people, 3 to 4 million people are dealing with this every single day, and they don't really understand how this is taking over their mind versus how just things take over the mind. It's a completely separate mind takeover. But I want to talk to you a little bit about a page in my book here. I've been kind of going through it. And one page I wanted to talk about is things that I dealt with, so all of you can understand what you're probably dealing with. But if you can see here, these are all the problems that I dealt with when I had Eustachian tube dysfunction. I dealt with Eustachian tube dysfunction because we know that that is the main culprit that causes the rest of the things to happen. A lot of these are conditions, but these are problems that you deal with when you have ETD. You deal with tinnitus, you deal with TMJ. You also have a case of patulous Eustachian tube, and that's something I do want to talk a lot more on this channel. I haven't really covered a lot about PET, but I want to talk more about it. Vertigo, and then of course ear infections. There's a lot more, but I really wanted to just house the main ones that bothered me. And some of these aren't as strong as obviously the first one that causes it's like the person that's hosting the party and inviting all the other people to come and join. So in this book, I talk about how I dealt with all those things. I don't have one special remedy. I want all of you to know there's not one special remedy. If that was the case, a book would not be necessary. But if you haven't gotten a chance to get your hands on a copy of this book, I do recommend the digital copy because it's a lot more easier to obtain, and it's not as expensive. This book, I will be kind of posting a link of where you can get a hard copy, I guess you can get a paperback copy, but it's a little bit more pricier just because of how the shipping and things like that are in play. But eventually I will be trying to get this price lower for all of you out there. But for now, it is what it is, but I'll be posting the link. I want to try to make all my resources reasonable for everybody, because when you're dealing with problems, and you're a lot of you are probably spending a lot of money on providers that that you're trying to get some information out of, and you're probably not getting a lot of it good information. I don't want to make the resources super expensive, so bear with me on that. I will be trying to get the prices lower, get them on more of my court, and then I can start manipulating and bringing those down. But today I really want to just talk a little bit more about how all of you are probably feeling right now. You all know that this is not a sprint-like condition. It's not a sprint life episode. It's not something you can fast forward, something you have to endure, but you got to do it with patience. And what I mean by that is when it starts to do this mental takeover, I'm going to call it that, mental takeover. It's a good title for this video, by the way. When you're going through the mental takeover, the reason it takes so long is because you're not exactly sure at the beginning of what's really truly the culprit for the mental takeover. You could be naming a lot of other things that you could feel this by. You could think it could be coming from stress at work. You could be thinking it's coming from maybe difficult people in your life, or just something you're going through, maybe in and out of work, trying to find something. You have a lifestyle that requires you to be spread out, and you need to do a lot of things. But I'm going to tell you right now, you probably handled those things perfectly fine. And when you have this condition, it will mask what really is what's going on and giving you a whole set of other things to deal with. So what I mean by that is basically all of you are strong individuals for the most part. All of you can deal with whatever you're dealing with. But when you have this condition, you suddenly become susceptible to everything you feel. So you become more dependent on feeling just 100% good, because when you go through your day to day, you feel all these sensations and they follow you all over the house. They follow you all over the store. They follow you in your car. You can't seem to get away from it. But when you have ETD, it tends to bring down your confidence level. It brings down your ability to believe that you can get through it, because it's just following you and it's not letting you get out of it. I've seen people with worse diseases that are more, they're strong. They carry this level of strength that you wouldn't believe. But when you have ETD, I don't want to compare conditions or problems and say that this one's harder and this one's easier. But let's be honest, there's a lot of really detrimental diseases out there that a lot of people handle with pride and stride. But with this condition, it can make you feel helpless. It can make you feel at your weakest, and you'll tend to think that you're the baby of the situation, and you'll try to do what I did and not good, is to minimize what you feel, and not really being open about it with people. You just say, well, it's not the heart disease, it's not a terminal brain injury, or it's not some kind of developmental issue with the nerves or something very life threatening. So you tend to not maybe, you put so much, you minimize it, the best way you can. But when you do that, you also draw yourself into this secluded area to where it makes it harder for you to actually get through with it. And you skip out on things because you think, if I could just deal with them in private, I'm going to get through it, and I don't have to, expose what I'm dealing with people and have their sympathy, or have their have the guilt of not being the best wherever I need to go. And it actually makes it grow more. So do I mean go out into the public streets and areas and yell what you have? No, but what I mean is take it with a grain of salt, right? But also don't feel like you need to deal with it alone either. A lot of you are awesome about joining groups. You're getting involved with trying to figure out what others are doing. You're getting yourself more inclined to what you can do. You're talking to others about it. This is actually very helpful, and it's very healthy to get through ETD, because when we're talking about the mental aspect of Eustachian tube dysfunction, we're not just talking about an annoyance to the ear and problems that are not that big a deal. We're actually talking about something that can turn from being an annoyance of the ear, yes, but become a bigger mental overtaking. And it's just something that starts to make you feel so many different emotions, and it's just very challenging to the mind, body, and soul. The best thing to start putting some healing into motion, the best and quickest thing to do, is you have to start owning it, but you have to also not let it take over you, in the sense that you're doing whatever this voice is telling you to do. So ETD, think of it this way. ETD is a voice. It's a negative voice. It's a voice that bothers you whenever you're in your happiest state of mind, state of being. And when you're trying to do something good for yourself, it could be like a self-help day. It could be like self-healing, or you're trying to do something for someone else, which is even worse because you feel the guilt if it doesn't go the way you want it to. So it could be something like that. You're trying to put on a birthday party, you're trying to put on a wedding, you're trying to go to a wedding, you're trying to go do just the daily necessary things. And here you are dealing with this clicking, this swishing, all this other nonsense stuff. The best way to start getting healing into motion is to not surrender to everything you feel when it comes to ETD. When you succumb to what it's trying to tell you to do, because if you all are understanding one thing, when you have this condition, some of you watching this that maybe don't have it yet, and you just stumbled across it and you don't even think you have it or know you have it, the ones that know they have it and felt that they've had it and continuously have been dealing with it are going to be able to understand what I'm talking about here. You get these voices telling you things that you can't do and you shouldn't do. You're going to hear that all the time. I'm going to dive a little more deeper in this into another video, but for now, I'm just going to go into it a little right now and tell you, you're going to hear the voice telling you what you can't do, what you shouldn't do, what you need not to do. And if you follow that voice, those of you know what I'm talking about. When you follow that voice, you're actually watering the weeds to grow bigger. It's proven. I'm telling you, You have to do the exact opposite of that voice that's telling you, nah, you need to skip that birthday party. Nah, you can't go to the mountains. Nah, don't work out today. If you follow your own intuition and you follow your own voice, because we all have our own voice outside of what we think we hear or don't hear, you're going to defeat it because it's going to take over. The mind's going to predominantly own. You're going to grab the ownership again of your mind, body, and soul. And you're going to not let the little voice tell you all the little things that you cannot do. Because I was doing this. Okay, what do you want me to do? Oh, I should sit down and sleep now. I should skip out on working out today. And I was continuously doing that for 2 years. Go see a doctor. They look in there. Nah, you're okay. Here's some medication. Okay. So then I go that route. And then again, the voice comes back. You have to do what you feel you were doing before you started hearing this voice. And you have to keep doing it consistently. And not only that, you do have to look at your overall standing of your health and see things that you can improve. Are there diets that out there that, when I mean diet, I don't mean starve yourself or anything like that. I mean, are there ways that you can improve as far as veggies, fruits, hydration? Look at everything. By the way, I don't think that's actually a diet. I just think we put the name diet to anything that sounds different, but really it's just the essentials. It's really just the basics. You don't need to name anything. It's really giving your body the basics of what it needs. As long as you continue to give your body the basics of what it needs, but do it over a long-term span, you're going to start feeling healthy. We always think we need to completely extract something or completely insert something in terms of our health into our diet or into our lifestyle. And when you really think about it, most of the time, it's really taking what's already there and lightly modifying and adding a little bit here, a little bit there, not completely blowing anything up, adding a little here and a little there. You'll find that actually makes a bigger impact than if you just cut everything out or cut something out or say I need to completely. It's really going to be something simple that you could be a little bit better with. It's really simple. Maybe a few extra hours of sleep, maybe a little stretching session throughout the day that you're not doing. It's really going to be something like that. Don't think that because it's in front of you and because it's public knowledge that it's not valuable knowledge or valuable intuition. Think about it being something like that. Something that just you need to slightly edit. Edit versus blow something up, or delete. Edit versus delete. It's one of those things. Do that over a long span of time and you'll realize that the mental health and what you feel starts to come down. So there's two things that I want you to leave this video with here. Don't listen to every ETD voice you hear. Every calling, every action, every demand that you're being told in your head, because you all hear them. Don't follow all of that. Go with your own gut feeling, your own gut instinct. Challenge yourself a little bit. Make yourself the purpose. Make yourself the main factor. And you all know what I mean. And if you don't know what I mean, you need me to dig a little deeper on this, I have no problem doing a part 3 of this video. But in the meantime, this is all going to help the panic. This is going to help the worry. This is going to help the anxiety. Because if you start following this pretend voice, you actually are giving panic more of an emphasis. And I thought, oh, if I just listen to that, to my body, I'm doing the right thing. But you realize there's multiple voices in your heads. And I don't mean it in a way where we're crazy, but there are different voices that you hear in your head. One of those is the Eustachian Tube Dysfunction because it's in your ear. That's the difference. It's actually in your ear doing and manipulating the internal ear, and it's just disrupting the natural flow of things in your ear. Therefore, you're listening to that and you're doing everything it or that is saying to you. When I started to ignore that and just say, okay, I'm just going to do what I used to do before. I was fine before. As long as what I did before wasn't destructive, then I should be okay. This is easier for those of you that are living a very healthy lifestyle already, and then you get this. For those of you that know what you're doing, I don't want to pick on anybody, but if you know what you're doing and you know you've been told what you've been what needs to improve by your doctors and other people, I'll let you decide for that. But for those of you that are like myself, that was not doing anything that I thought was bad and getting checked out and being reaffirmed that it wasn't bad, then I knew there were things that I needed to work on here. Once you work on here, you'll feel better. So that's the first thing. That's a long one. Second thing is what I just said right here. Don't blow anything up. Don't delete anything unless it's real bad. Slightly edit what you're doing, slightly edit, and improve it over a long span of time. Again, better foods, better sleep, better sleep, better sleep, better sleep. More self-care, stretching, meditating, praying, whatever. Do all those things. And I promise you, give yourself at least 3 weeks of doing all of that consistently. And if you don't already feel better by those 3 weeks, then I can tell you, you're going to feel better enough to believe, then the belief will carry you on to the healing that you want to get to. So follow that for 3 weeks. It's not a long time, and you'll see the difference in how you feel. I hope this video was very helpful for you. If it was, please take time to subscribe to the channel. I try to bring content as often as possible. But in the meantime, I'm going to step out of the Jaye Wellness Studio and leave you in good hands with this video. Like anything else, folks, we're here to simply go back to the basics. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you in the next video.